And we are live. Guys, it's the Man Cave Archive. We are up late on a Sunday before we're supposed to all go to work the next day. But hey, we got a little bit more time together and we want to put together some really good content. Tonight, we were going to try to see if we could cover some news articles and we'll still get there. But tonight, we're going to have a conversation that we've been passionate about for way too long and have just never put it out there. And the main story, the main header of this storyline of this podcast tonight is what makes a terrible storyline. I will leave it to Brother Tyson over here, aka Madara, and we got Thomas Grant in the building, and yours truly. You know, we all here. Let's get it.
Yeah, I mean, to give some backstory, we were all having a previous conversation talking about things that just don't make sense. And storylines. One of these stories we're actually going to talk about tonight is obviously their Transformers movie number 7 is going to be coming out. It's going to be starring Anthony Ramos as the main character. Obviously, he's from Hamilton. He also played In the Heights recently as the main character in that movie, but they're going to be doing Beast Wars, right? And they went and announced a lot of the Maximals and the Predacons who will be in the movie. But there were 2 noticeable Maximals that were not talked about, which you could argue were the stars of Beast Wars. It was a cartoon back on UPN when I was a kid.
Yeah, and then later the CW too.
Exactly. It was Cheetor and Rat Trap.
Yep.
Where they were actually the first was it Transmetals, I believe, after the whole arc exploded, and it was Cheetor, Galactic Transform, Rat Trap, obviously. It was Optimus as well. Rhinox came later. His transformation came later on in the series, but basically Cheetor and Rat Trap. Again, you could argue they were the main characters of Beast Wars throughout the whole entire run. Mostly Cheetor, because most of the episodes revolved around him getting himself into trouble, getting separated from the pack because he was always trying to be a lone wolf. But ultimately, Optimus and the guys always had to come and bail him out at the very end. Rat Trap will shoot him out, about that at the end, because there was one episode where Rat Trap actually got stuck in their ship, and was the Predacons came and attacked it, and he actually fended them all off. So it showed it was a juxtaposition showing the what's the word I'm looking for? A dichotomy between Cheetor and Rat Trap.
Rat Trap was very efficient.
He could handle himself.
Yeah.
Cheetor couldn't.
Yeah.
And so that was the whole thing that was set up. And then obviously when we talk about bad storytelling, that was one of the things that we're actually talking about tonight. So if you didn't pay attention to Beast Wars,
that's okay. We'll break it down.
Exactly. It's okay. Beast Wars eventually turned into Beast Machines.
Yeah.
And so leaving Beast Wars behind, you had episodes where Cheetor was given chances to be the lead, showing where he was strong at, and then also showing where he was not strong at. So he was learning these lessons all the way throughout Beast Wars. And then we get to Beast Machines, where they get back to Cybertron. And when they get there, Cybertron is in disarray. Spoiler, non-spoiler, Megatron somehow through cartoon logic falls off their ship in transportation, but beats them back to Cybertron, and he's in control. And so Cheetor and them land on there. They're getting attacked. They don't know why they're getting attacked. Optimus gets broken away from them. And then Cheetor reverts right back to how he was in Beast Wars. Not a hothead all over again, repeating the same mistakes he did in Beast Wars. Not listening, keeps on challenging Optimus, keeps on getting in trouble. And it's the same type of terrible tropes that you see, to where, you already established this in the first series. He learned from this mistake already. Then why is he again repeating the same mistake all over again? And I was like, you should have learned the first time. We literally spent the whole entirety of Beast Wars teaching you, don't make these stupid mistakes, only for you to get, only for you to age, grow up, and then repeat same said mistakes. And have to learn the same said lessons all over again for a whole different series. And again, we're talking about trash writing, and it literally made no sense. Again, it was TV logic. Megatron falls off the ship, and in a wormhole, by the way, falls off the ship while they're moving through space, but somehow a non-moving object makes its way to Cybertron. I think he beat them there by at least two years, because the war ended by the time they were there. There was no longer a war on Cybertron anymore. It was the Maxwell's getting persecuted again by the Predacons, or now this point the machines, as they were called. So they were getting chased down by the machines. They didn't know why. So Megatron, through again TV logic, beats them there, and then we get to the whole thing all over again, where we're literally repeating Beast Wars, but now it's Beast Machines. And it's like, people get on, and I guess they don't know what to do in the storyboards, and then they look at what worked in this series. Well, let's just repeat what we just did, and the fans will love it. And as a kid, when you're not doing any type of critical thinking, you're marveled by the special effects. You're marveled by what they're doing. The whole "I am transformed." Oh, it's a new saying now. It's not just transform. It's "I am transformed." And so then you and your friends are over there watching it. You're not, again, critical thinking. For some weird reason, it doesn't come in until you're like 15 and 16. You're like, man, that show was really trash. When you actually start to actually think about it. And one of the things that we were comparing notes on was Star Wars episodes 7 and 8. Two movies that had some of the absolute worst writing I have ever seen in my lifetime. It was so bad that when I got to episode 9, we were talking about that again, to where I couldn't finish the movie. It was like I got to a point to where Finn met some of the Resistance fighters, and I was like, okay, I'm done. I couldn't will myself to finish that movie, because that's just how bad the writing was throughout. And again, one of the things that we were talking about moments ago, before we even started, was the whole Rey beating Ben Solo. Again, we talk about consistent writing. There's no way Luke Skywalker, injured or not, because Luke Skywalker did put some hits on Darth Vader in episode 5, right? He hit him on the shoulder, kicked him down. But there was no way Luke was going to beat Vader. Why? Because Vader was a better Force user. Luke was just awakening to using the Force. He trained a few days on Dagobah. It wasn't enough. He got completely outclassed by Darth Vader, right? You can use the sorry excuse that, Ben Solo got hit by the Wookiee bowcaster, and that's why stop. This guy was trained from a very young age, according to the lore of the movie. Because Leia said we should have never sent him off to get training. They sent him away at a very young age to get trained by Luke Skywalker. So from a very young age, he's going to train by Jedi Master Luke. There is no way, wounded or not, there is no way that Ben Solo should have lost that lightsaber fight. Because again, you're conflicting with established lore. Okay, for instance, it took Luke Skywalker from episode 4 to episode 5 at 6 months. It took Luke Skywalker, the first time Luke used the Force grip, which is the move he used to grab and pull out the lightsaber. I know it's geek speak, but that's what it was. The very first time he uses that is to pull out his lightsaber because he's about to get attacked and killed by the Wampa. That's the very first time Luke, and he had been training already. That's, again, it's established lore. He had already been training because Obi-Wan was talking to him. This is established inside of the canon of the series. So that's the first time he uses it. Rey, in one movie, less than 10 hours into the movie, is using the Jedi mind trick. Is using the Force grip. Is now accustomed to Jedi reflexes. She's doing things that no Star Wars character before her has ever done. No Force user before her has ever done. And as again, we're talking about let's have consistent writing. There was nothing consistent about that in any of those movies. Unfortunately, do any of y'all have any comments on that?
Yeah, I think with Star Wars, is I think there was an obvious effort to always push Rey to be like, oh well, this Rey is this powerful, so now we have to sort of power scale her by she's using Jedi mind tricks already, whereas it took Luke till episode 6, 3 movies in, where it's like now he walks in like he's the master and he's using Jedi mind tricks,
Yeah.
And so again, Rey, I think the problem with those movies is just like it completely circumvents the entire lore of training whatsoever, where it's like Rey just literally witnesses, oh, I see him do a Jedi mind trick. Oh yeah, now I can do it too.
Yeah.
And it's just like in the Star Wars universe, it's like that's not how things work.
Yeah.
Luke didn't witness, Obi-Wan doing the Jedi mind trick, and okay, well, that seems pretty easy. Like I can do it too now. And there's just a lot in those movies, episodes 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, where it's just like they did so much stuff where it was just like, we don't really want to spend the time building the storyline.
Yeah.
Let's just get this over with. Let's throw this in to satisfy people. It's sort of like when they came out with episode 9, fans that complained that, well, Rey has never actually trained, in all the movies, she's never actually trained. Well, now it's like, okay, let's throw in a training montage. Well, Luke is already dead. There's really nobody who can train her. Well, actually,
Leia's the master now.
Leia had been trained by Luke previously, and it's like, since when? When was Leia a Jedi Master? Oh yeah, she's been a Jedi Master. You guys just didn't know. Like, all right, guys, and then all of a sudden you get a little 5-minute montage of Rey training to sort of justify the fact that, oh, she's a pretty powerful character now. That 5 minutes is supposed to sell us on, oh yeah, well she trained, like, no, she didn't just train for 5 minutes and then become a Jedi Master all of a sudden.
Exactly.
So the whole storyline in episodes 7, 8, and 9, number one, like 7 was too much. It was too close to what they had done previously.
In episode 4.
And for me, it's like, why are you retelling the same story? We just talked about how, what was the point of the character struggling in 4, 5, and 6 to reach the end goal that they did, just for within 20 to 30 years, we're back at square one all over again.
It's still the resistance.
Yeah,
like,
we're back to getting chased down by the evil empire.
And even further still, because by the time they got there, that was the whole resistance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was the whole resistance inside of episode 8.
Exactly. They're like, this is it.
This is it.
Like, that's it.
And you have the whole empire who's chasing behind them, and then the only reason that they take them out is because of the space travel, the way they
light speed jump.
It didn't even make any sense, because going to that point, we were told the First Order was a fringe radical group.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you get to the
episode 8
to like the story scroll in episode 8. Oh, the First Order is taking over everything, and it's like, then you tell us
the movie
that
picked up right after.
Exactly, because Finn
7,
literally just got put in the bacta tank.
Yeah.
That Luke was in episode 5. So it was like, okay, that makes literally no sense. So in one night, from going from a fringe, because literally Huxley was literally the one funding the First Order.
Yeah.
That's what you said in episode 7. But then now, episode 8, oh no, it's actually Snoke. It's like, your storytelling is all over the place. There's no established lore. And just another side point, because remember, Finn makes a comment to where, I'm just going to use the Force. And Han Solo tells him, that's not how the Force works. Only for Rey to do the exact same thing Finn just did.
Like, I have no plan, but I have the Force, so I'll be good.
Exactly, and I'll be good. That's not how it goes.
But I think one of the things, and one of the reasons why I think this is such a great topic of what makes a bad storyline, is because now we got to compare what our complaints are about these storylines to what made stories great to begin with.
Yeah.
In episodes 4, 5, and 6, which is essentially And it isn't just about Star Wars, guys. This is about an overall approach of how to make a bad storyline. Like, how do you make a bad storyline? We had Beast Machines where they kept repeating the same story over and over again. Yeah, you had better aesthetic from series 1 to series 2, but the overall theme remained exactly the same. Mm-hmm. And like you said earlier, your critical thinking skills don't come into play until you get older. I remember C.S. Lewis said, if a children's story is only good for children,
exactly,
it's a bad story.
It shouldn't even be written. He said he went as far as to say it shouldn't even be written.
Exactly. You know? So I think that the mistakes that, and I know it's Transformers is a kids' toy series, but I think the mistake is that they didn't know how to write a storyline around the merchandise. They would rather sell the merchandise instead of selling the story. And so what ends up happening is that right then and there, you have the inconsistencies and you have the repeat of the same story because they're just trying to sell you a toy.
Exactly.
So then you go over to Star Wars, where a lot of people don't see. I'm one of those people where I see things, right? And it's because I wanted to be a writer and still want to be a writer. My brothers and I, we all talk about writing as well, too. And the one thing that we notice is that in the pantheon of great writers, you have people who will come up with archetypes. Prime example, you had Odysseus, and you had with the Odyssey, you had the Clash of the Titans with I forget what his name is right now. Perseus. And then you even have King Arthur, right? If you look at all three of those characters I just named, they all had somebody who was wiser, smarter, and in some cases stronger around them, training them to help them reach their potential. Yeah. Luke Skywalker had Obi-Wan Kenobi. Luke Skywalker had an older brother in Han Solo. Luke Skywalker had a princess, which was a little weird at one point in time, but she kind of served as the female energy, but also the attraction within the Star Wars storyline. Listen, let's not be silly here. If you look at the original poster of Star Wars, where's Leia? She's draped around his leg. So before we go talk about something, he was supposed to be a sister the whole time. I'm not quite sure George Lucas knew where he was going with the storyline, honestly. I love the guy. I think he's a wonderful storyliner, but I don't necessarily agree that he knew where he was going with that storyline the whole time. So, y'all, give us 1 second. I got something I got to deal with. Hang on 1 second. We'll be right back.
We're good.